Welcome to More For Me by yours truly, Kat Necole. What up, homie? What's going on with you? What's good? I hope that all is well your way. Pretty much chilling over here. It's a good state to be in, kind of relaxing today. Woosah. Let me take the time to first welcome you and thank you for tuning in today, whether you're joining on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. It is a privilege and an honor to be here with you in the studio today. I'll say it again. I've said it before. It's one of my favorite times of the week to come and kick it with you guys. So if this is your first time, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's going on here and why we gather here each week, the homies and I on the Homieship. And if it's not your first time, of course, it's an honor also to have you back here in the studio. But every week I come here before you on More For Me, and I share my experiences, past and present. And as I share like some of the things that I'm journeying through, I'm dealing with, I'm learning, or I'm being challenged with, I endeavor to do that to let you know, to share with someone that you are not alone. Sometimes it's easy to feel like we're an exception or we're all by ourselves in this battle, in this journey, in this life. But that's not the truth. God created us for community. So this is my way to extend my hand to reach out to you, to let you know that you've got company, that I would love to accompany you on your journey and for you to accompany me on my journey. Where exactly are we going? I believe that there is more for us in this life, that literally God wants more for us, more than anything we could ever imagine or think, like your wildest dreams, big ideas, visions, all that. God literally wants more for you. And so I'm headed on a journey towards that destination of more that God has for me. But remember, he has a destination of more for you as well. So on your journey, you may be learning more about God and about yourself and understanding your call and what your more is. But we are all nonetheless on a journey. And like I said, I love for you to accompany me on my journey and for you to allow me to accompany you on yours. And gathering here each week is a part of just that. So let's get into the gettings for the week. This week, I wanted to spend a little bit more time talking about this idea of more. In the introduction of every episode, I give little nuggets and tidbits about what that is, but more has been on my mind a lot lately. One of the things that more is connected to is stewardship. And I've been thinking about stewardship, a lot these past few weeks. I have a company called Steward Little, and I've been putting some major work into the company and solidifying the foundation, laying out some things that I'll be able to present and share with the world, what God has called me to and what he's blessed me with, to let it flow through me and share that with the world, as I said. But it all centers around this idea of stewardship. And stewardship for me is really just an idea of managing what you've been given. Steward Little, as the company is called, it centers around, and point of information, I think it was like last week or the week before, I mentioned the parable of the talents, and I misspoke and said like Matthew 28. It's really in Matthew 25 while I was going. But Steward Little, it centers around the parable of the talents, which is actually found in Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 through 23. I'm not going to read it all here, but definitely do encourage you to go take a look. In the parable of the talents, it basically speaks to a master who goes away. And when he goes away, he has 3 servants and he entrusts them with some of his possessions. To one, he gives 5 talents. To another, he gives 2 talents. And to another, he gives 1 talent. Each one is given a talent in injunction with what the master believes that they can handle. So everybody's not given the same thing, but based upon what you can handle, that is what you're given. So 5, 2, and 1. The master goes away for some time. And when he comes back, he talks to the servants to see what they have done. The person who was given 5 talents, he basically, let's say he invested it and now he has 10. So he's like, hey, you gave me 5, earned some interest, and now here's 10. The master is pretty excited about that. And let me pull that part up. And we see it in verse 21. He literally says, his master said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. The second servant, who had 2, he did some bit of investing. Master's like, what'd you do? It's like, hey, you gave me 2. Now I have 4. He gets a bit of the same. Well done, thy good and faithful servant. You've been ruler over little, and now I'll make you ruler over much. Enter into the joy of your master. Then you get to the third servant. The third servant whom received 1. He's like, hey, what did you do? He goes into this long, drawn out explanation. Not as clear and cut and dry, right? But it's basically saying, yo, I know how you are, sir. You're pretty tough. You have high expectations. You demand and expect a lot. But I was scared. So I just buried it right here in the ground. And because I thought that it would be better that I give you back what you gave me than to try to gamble with what you gave me and lose it all. So he gives him back the 1 talent. Doesn't go over so well. The master's basically like, you're lazy. That wasn't thoughtful. And if you knew all this about me, then you should have at least taken it to the bank, made an investment, and got a little bit more than what you had. So I'm going to take what I gave you originally and give it to the one who made 10 because he was faithful and I can trust him with it. You, on the other hand, I think he like throws him in a jail and all this other stuff too. And so that's the scripture pertaining to stewardship, again, that Steward Little is basically formed around, but it's so kind of intertwined and connected to my life. So I've been thinking about more. I've also been focusing on stewardship. And then this little third nugget we'll tie in here is that our family's mission is actually to hear well done. That stems from this is that when we're done doing whatever work God has called us to at the end of our life, we want to hear God say, well done, that we've stewarded well, that we've done a good job, that we fulfilled the assignment and did what he called us to do. So you have all these pieces coming together and they're kind of one and the same, but definitely go together. So that first side of things on stewardship, where has my head been? Yes, thinking about the principles that I want to share and the different areas that I want to address stewardship in and try to inform and enlighten people. Like, what does it mean to steward, to manage in general? And then what does it mean in God's eyes and within 5 specific areas? So you have that side of it. But I found myself taking a step back and revisiting this parable to say, where am I? As I think about more, I can't help but consider what my stewardship looks like right now in this season. Am I the servant that was given 5 talents that I come back with 10? I'm stewarding it well. With 2, same difference. I'm stewarding it well. I increase. Or am I that servant that has 1 and I bury my talent because I'm a little bit of afraid? And maybe it's not necessarily of my master. I'm not afraid of God, but am I afraid of the outcome? Am I afraid of the possibility of what could happen if I try to utilize my talents and instead I decide, hey, I'm gonna bury it? And that's where I find myself that even though I want to be the best steward, that sometimes fear leads me to a place, and even to be transparent with with my company, Steward Little, that sometimes I slow down my progress for fear of the outcome if I execute what I've been called to do. And I love to challenge you to consider, hey, if you've been given something to steward, whether it's your faith, your family, your finances, your fitness, or friendships, like you've been given these areas to steward. How are you doing in those areas? Are you making the master proud? Are you going to be able to hear, well done, thy good and faithful servant? You've been faithful over a little, so I can make you ruler over more. I can give you more. Or is there going to be disappointment because you took what you had and because of fear, you decided to bury it. So it didn't increase. It couldn't bless other people. You just kept it to yourself and you buried that thing. Where do you find yourself in the areas of stewardship that you're acknowledging in your life? Do you want to hear well done? I hope that's the case. And that it gives us an opportunity to challenge ourselves and even push and encourage, because sometimes in the moment you can get so caught up in fear or the possibility of what won't be that you forget to hold on to be hopeful in the things that could be. Let's take that a little bit further. And I want to look at this idea of more, a little more. When you think about more, or at least when I think about more, I tend to think about abundance, definitely more than what I have. But sometimes I find myself forgetting that, let's go back to the parable, right? The person that had 5, they were able to obtain 5 additional, which means they had 10. They had more. But the person that had 2, they were able to double up as well and went from 2 to 4. They still had more. And if we just focus on 5 and 2, yes, 5 is greater than 2, but 4 was still greater than 2. Now, if you follow me, the point that I'm trying to get across here is that you don't want to be distracted, if you will, by the little, wishing that it was more, that you're not willing to do the work to that would lead to it actually being more. I hope that makes sense, right? If I'm so fixated that, man, I think about my kids. I only have this much. I think that person has more than me. It's not comparison to anyone else. You're focusing on you. And literally, what do I have now? Whether it's a little or a lot in my eyes or someone else's. The reality is, if I have something, then I have an opportunity to take that little and to make it more. And I've really been trying to focus on embracing what I have and to steward it well so that it can turn into that more. So my focus for the week, probably past couple of weeks and then the next few weeks, like I said, has really been more in how stewardship over what I actually have now, the more that I have right now, because it's more than what I used to have. My present value or my present reality of more. What is that? And am I stewarding it well? Not sometimes, but am I consistently stewarding that thing well so that it has the opportunity to increase and to grow? I hope that you would take a step back again and assess, what have I been given to steward? Maybe focus on one thing at a time. So you can look at that and then say, how am I doing in terms of managing or stewarding what I've been given? Are you positioning yourself to hear well done? Or are you positioning yourself for disappointment because you took what you had and you buried it? I love the saying that I've heard, and I've heard it on multiple occasions, that God doesn't bring things to you for you, but for them to flow through you. So whether it's a revelation, a thought, idea, your love, the kindness, the joy, happiness, but those things are to flow through you, not to stop at you, because we are literally supposed to be conduits, not containers. Letting things flow through, not holding them in or keeping them to ourselves. So this week, that's all that we have. But it's a major, major idea and notion as we work and journey towards the destination of more that God has for each of us. That we want to make sure that we are conduits and not containers, and that the more that God has given us right now in this very moment, no matter how big or small or little it may be, that we have to steward or manage those things well. Stewarding little so that we can eventually gain much, that we can get to that destination, continue to make progress towards that destination of more that God has for each and every one of us. I hope that this nugget, this idea, notion blessed you today. Of course, I'll say, stay tuned. Steward Little definitely will be coming forth and in full effect, because I'm going to steward well what he's given me. But in the meantime, share this message with somebody else. Maybe they need to hear. Maybe they need to consider their more. Maybe they want to join the Homieship. Or if you haven't made that move, taken that step to join the Homieship, it's pretty simple. Just click the subscribe button below and make sure you turn on your notifications so that you can be with us here every week, same time, same place, same mode. I'd also love to hear from you, and you can reach out to me through the ways that are in the show notes, but also by rating, reviewing the episode and the show. Let me know what you like and what you think, and how I can continue to reach out to you, any topics that you may want to hear. But It'd be nice to hear from you, get some feedback, and let me know how you are enjoying the show. That's all for this week. But remember, God has more for me. God has more for you. Now let's get it. Take care.